I hope. Let me try. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So yeah, welcome back everybody. Today we have Nelson, who is one of my closest friends and one of my friends from high school. I actually met him in some of my classes because we both had interest in business, entrepreneurship, and finance, and we both liked reading the same sort of books. Some of those include The Rich Dad Poor Dad, his Guide to Real Estate, Guide to Investing, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, we've been friends ever since. We go to the gym, we'll have meetings, we'll always talk about things we can do to motivate each other. So yeah, Nelson, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Thank you. My name is Nelson. I'm 21 years old. I'm in school part-time, and also I've been starting and running my own business part-time as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Yeah, like you said, we met in high school. I think it was like during English class, right?
I think so,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you were sitting behind me. And
Mm-hmm.
then I don't even remember how we started talking, to be honest. But it turns out we both were very interested in business and real estate and stuff like that. So yeah, we just started talking, and then yeah, it's been quite a while. I think it's been what, like at least 4 years probably since high school.
Yeah, and Nelson actually graduated a year early, so he graduated with my class, and I'm a year older than him. But yeah, he wanted to get into the world as soon as possible. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that, like how you were able to do that?
Yeah, first of all, when I say, oh, I graduated a year early, people think that I'm like some genius or something, but I am indeed not a genius. I just was kind of like bored of school, and I wanted to, like you said, go out into the real world and try my own thing. Try to start a business, try to make money in some sort of way, and yeah, that's kind of why I did that. I basically just took extra classes in grade 11, so I just like speed ran everything, and then yeah, I graduated the same year, which is right before COVID. And then I guess talking into COVID, kind of the first business that I started was during COVID. I saw a video online. Um, they were talking about how you could buy and resell couches. And there's this guy, his name is Ryan Pineda, and he talks about different side hustles and whatnot. And I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. So me and my friend, we went to go pick up this like free couch, and this was during COVID, so there was really not much to do. So I had a lot of time on my hands. So we picked up this couch. It was like an orange IKEA couch. We got it for free. I used my parents' like SUV. Like half the trunk was open, half the couch was like sticking out. And then my friend was actually, while I was driving, he was holding on to it so that it wouldn't fly out of the car. And yeah, we brought it home. I just cleaned it up, took a picture. I listed it for like $350 on Facebook Marketplace. And like the next day, there was probably at least like 10, 15 messages. And yeah, I was like pretty shocked. I'm like, why would anybody want like a free couch that I picked up? But I offered like a free delivery. Like I said, I'll deliver it to your house. I'll help you move it in for free. And a lot of people really like that. So I still remember that exact couch. We dropped it off to like our downtown area, and then we got the cash. And then me and my friend looked at each other. We're like, yeah, I kind of like this. Let's try it. Let's keep doing this. So we did that for a while, and then my friend was busy. He had some other stuff to do. So eventually I started doing it by myself. And within like the first 45 days, like a month and a half, I already made close to $10,000 in profit. And this was like the most money I've ever made in my whole life up until then. So I was like, dude, this is crazy. And I was still using my parents' car, so it's like an SUV. I would be holding the couch by myself and driving at the same time. I'm not even joking. Yeah, and then after that, I kept doing that for a couple months, and then I talked to my dad. I was like, why don't I like take it more seriously, like buy like a van so I could sell even bigger couches for even more profit. So I ended up buying a van, and then I kept doing that. It was really, really good money for my age at the time. Like there was no other job or like business that could like make that much money. And also this is all cash too. So yeah, that's kind of like my first business or like side hustle, I guess, straight out of high school. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it's amazing story, and it's like amazing how you started with all the tools that you already have, right? Like using your parents' car, you
Yeah.
know, finding things for free, so there's very low, um, cost of entry or whatever. Like if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. You just put it on the curb or whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah. I actually
yeah,
had in the beginning I had maybe three couches, I think, that like I didn't know. Like I picked them up, and then when I got it home, it was like the side was broken or something. So I had
yeah,
to like leave it at the curb and get the city to come get it.
yeah,
But like that was kind of like the learning process. Like I
yeah,
figured out, oh, like what couches would be good to sell and what were not good to sell. So
yeah,
yeah, I like throughout like the first 1 to 2 months, that's when I was like learning, oh, like these couches are very popular. They sell all the time. And yeah, it's kind of like honestly running like a small business, to be honest.
yeah. No, it's amazing because yeah, you were saying you're able to make 10K in a month or couple month or whatever, right? So like for
Yeah.
a lot of people who are really struggling, I think buying and selling things, Facebook, eBay, thrift stores, cars even, or doing any sort of side hustle. I saw this other video the other day of like how gutter cleaning and window washing and stuff like that is also
Yeah.
pretty easy to do and low startup costs. Um, yeah, no, it's really great, especially because like you said you didn't really find school that enjoyable and you wanted real world experience. So doing any sort of, I think, something on your own, you're gonna learn skills like negotiation, actually delivering on your like promise, and talking to other
Mm.
people, and getting a deal, all of that. So
Yeah. I think even though it's such a simple product, I
yeah,
still learned how to like, at times I would have to like bargain on the
yeah,
couches that I'm picking up because
100%.
I ended up obviously not every couch is free, right? So
Yeah,
I have to buy couches. I think like the most expensive couch I bought, it's probably I think it was like $400. It's like a huge, huge sectional couch.
yeah,
But yeah, I had to also learn how to like bargain and like all that stuff. And also when people bargained while I was selling it, I have to learn how to manage that as well.
yeah, for sure. No, and you also like for the viewers, Nelson's also very, very good at photography. Like he was very good at taking pictures, getting the lighting perfect, and like all of those skills I feel like are very applicable in the modern digital age because like we'll talk about shortly his Airbnb business. Um, there's a lot of like skills that you learn when that you don't even think about when you do something on your own, as well as like managing the money, probably learning the taxes and stuff like that, and all of that too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think, like you said, photography, it was actually an important part of selling couches for this reason. A lot of people that try to sell their couch, they just use their phone and it's like ugly lighting, just one picture, it looks dirty. But when I brought it back, the reason why I was able to sell these couches is because I had good lighting, I had a good background. I would place pillows on the couch, make it look nice. And I had previous photography experience, so I knew how to actually take it's like pretty simple, but I knew how
Yeah,
to frame the picture properly, take
yeah,
measurements, all that stuff. And yeah, that does tie into the Airbnb stuff that we'll talk about.
yeah. So do you think if somebody were to like say just do flipping couches, whatever, go garage sale, eBay. thrift stores, all of that. Whether it's couches, whether it's, I don't know. Gary Vee talks a lot about like mugs and collectibles.
Yeah.
And do you think it'd be possible to make six figures
Oh, easily,
easily?
easily. I think like Gary Vee, like he's like the master of flipping stuff. Like he flips everything.
Yeah.
That's what he does for fun. But it's literally possible to sell, I mean, flip like any product just
Yeah.
using Facebook. Everybody has a phone. You go
Yeah.
find free stuff or you go to garage sales. You find like a niche that you're knowledgeable in. For some people, like they flip cars, right? It's
Yeah.
a more high ticket kind of product, but you can even sell toys, books. I know iPhones are very popular to flip. Literally anything you see on Facebook, you can flip. And if you are knowledgeable enough about that product and that niche, you can definitely turn it into like easy six figures a year
Yeah.
business. I also saw people selling furniture, like wooden furniture. They do very, very well, easily six figures. You just really have to find that niche and just learn more about that specific product.
Yeah. For sure. So let's say you're somebody like a lot of my audience cares a lot about school, but there's like people that like don't care as much and like what advice would you have to anybody who's like thinking, oh, I don't think they want to do like post secondary education or whatever?
Hmm. Well, I personally think doing sales of any kind is the most beneficial for somebody that is maybe doesn't want to go the traditional route or is um, not super enthusiastic about school.
Yeah.
I think sales is probably like the most popular and the number one either job or skill that can really help you just learn about business in general because the ability to sell something, it doesn't matter what it is, but just learning how to sell something is probably the most valuable skill you will learn.
100%. Like, even for me with the tutoring service I run, it's basically just the product is like, okay, yeah, it's a good product because it's like helping people get better in school, get to university, get this degree that they can improve their human capital. But
Yeah.
a big chunk of it is sales and, like it's more like marketing and building brand, but a huge chunk of it is like helping people realize that this product is right for them and then actually getting that, closing the deal, whether it's a course that I kind of have or anything like that. So I think sales is definitely probably one of the best things you can do. Would you recommend people start flipping, like if they're to
I
learn a little
think
bit
it
sales?
like let's say you're coming out of high school, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say do it full time, but it like let's say you work a part-time job or you're still in school, right? You everybody has spare time.
Yeah.
I think learning how to flip any kind of product is going to teach you a lot. Like
Yeah.
you'll learn how to find products, how to sell, what kind of people want your products. Yeah, like I think everybody can flip anything on Facebook, Craigslist.
Yeah.
Um, I would say eventually you definitely want to get into something like more of like an actual business. But I
Yeah.
think for like teenagers and like if you're in your early 20s, it's definitely like a really cool side hustle that you can definitely do.
Yeah. And I think like even though it seems small in the beginning, like it compounds and you can like really use those skills that you're learning early on, even if you're not making that much. But I think later on, you can really use those sorts of skills that you've learned. Do you
Yeah,
agree? Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Because you also worked, or you were like volunteering or whatever with some realtors in the beginning, right? Like Oakland Realty? Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
So out of high school, this was like right before COVID time, I believe. I was very interested in real estate and I was exploring to see if I wanted to become a realtor. So I did like an internship over the summer at like a local real estate brokerage in Vancouver. And I basically did a bunch of marketing and door knocking with a real estate team. and that kind of taught me like how the business works. Just selling real estate is like a really, really big process, especially with the whole team. But I didn't end up doing it, but I did learn a lot of valuable things throughout that process.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I feel like if you want to do anything, you should try to get as close as you can to the people who are doing that stuff. Like if you
Yeah,
want to learn
definitely.
about real estate, go volunteer in like a real estate office. Go do like, work with the number one agent or the number 20th agent or whatever. And then
Yeah.
just by being as close as you can to those people that are doing the things, you're going to learn way more than like, you would in the classroom, or if you were just trying to earn some small amount of money or whatever. Like I think that concept of working to learn from Rich Dad Poor Dad, it really holds true.
Yeah, I think people are afraid to um, like work for free or learn for free.
Yeah,
And honestly, I think it's probably the most valuable thing you can do when you're younger
100%.
because you have like nothing to lose at this age. Everything is just going to be a learning process.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to volunteer or like work for nothing. Like
Yeah,
go out, find some, like you said, find somebody that's like the best in the industry that you want to go in,
yeah,
learn from them. And then once you have the knowledge, you can go do it by yourself.
yeah. No, even
So it's actually not even working for free at the end of the day.
yeah,
You're getting value.
100%. And like whenever you're doing those like cold emails or calling or whatever, try to provide value, right? Because don't be entitled. Like they don't owe you anything. Like nobody owes you anything really. So if you come at kind of approach it from a place of, oh, okay, how can I provide value to this, realtor, or in my case, I volunteered and shadowed a physiotherapist. So it's more like, okay, how can I provide value while I'm there to make their life easier or help them with whatever. Um, you know, so I think coming at it that way is definitely much better than like, oh, okay, I want to work as an assistant. I want to do the bare minimum, but I want the most amount of money or whatever. I feel like the world just doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, we talked a little bit about the real estate career. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing now, like Airbnb and how that works?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So basically, this kind of ties into the couch business as well. So one day I was delivering a couch to this house in Vancouver, and it was these two middle-aged couples, and it was like in this basement suite. So I helped them move the couch in. I was like putting on the legs because we took off the legs, so we're screwing in the legs for them. And then I was just curious. I'm like, hey, so are you guys like moving in? What are you guys doing? And then they said, oh, we just bought the house and we're planning on listing it up on Airbnb. And actually, before I even met them, before I was doing that, this whole time I was very interested in Airbnb and I was already doing a lot of research and learning about the business. And I was like, hey, I'm currently learning about this. Would you guys be open in me helping you guys? And again, working for free. I'll help you guys set up the listing. I'll do the pictures for you guys and I'll become your co host. And this was also their very first Airbnb. So they were like, sure, like he's like, I sounded like a cool dude. So we hopped on a call that week. I told them, hey, this is what you guys should do. We'll switch out some of this furniture. I gave them a bunch of tips. And then I went to do the photos, helped them listed it, and I was a co-host. And again, I was not getting paid for this, but this was a lot of learning experience under my belt. And within, I think, 2 days of me listing it, we got our first booking, and then from there on it was very successful. And right now I manage it part-time for them, but they're mostly doing the work because I've taught them everything. And since then I've gotten two of my own properties that I manage, and that's basically the story. I can get into the details of that first one if you want.
Your
uh,
choice.
Yeah, so it was like a basement suite. We started it in the beginning of this year around February. And up until now it's like November. They've made I checked this the other day. It was just over $50,000 in revenue for them, and they're very happy about this. So after this, I was like, I can kind of use this as my portfolio, and that's how I got the next two Airbnbs that I currently manage. And now I'm planning on scaling this business as it's not like a flipping business. I can actually scale it and hire employees eventually. So yeah, that's basically the story of how I got into it.
Yeah, no, and like with a lot of people probably bring up the zoning changes or like the Airbnb restrictions and stuff. Always make sure you follow everything and do it according to the rules. But as of now, you can basically have, was it one primary residence and then any basement suites or any in-law suite or laneway house on Airbnb on your property.
Yeah, so basically, we're in Vancouver. If anybody's watching outside of Vancouver, but the regulations here is that you can basically only run Airbnb on one property, which is where you live. So there's a bunch of ways where you can get around the regulations legally. So um, yeah, that's basically
Yeah,
it. Yeah, there's a
yeah,
bunch of ways you get around it.
yeah. So like with Airbnb, um, like would you say it's a good business to get into, or like how can someone, like what did you learn from this?
I
Um,
think it's for me personally. I think it's the best business for me
yeah.
for two reasons. First reason is I always wanted to run some kind of like an online business. I never wanted to have like a brick and mortar business where like I have to physically be there. So having Airbnb, being online, I really like that where I can manage everything remotely. And the second reason is because it has to do with real estate, right? Where I'm dealing with properties. I'm basically a property manager at this point for short term rentals. So it was kind of the best of both worlds for me. And I think for people that are looking to get into it, I think it's definitely a really good business to start. It's not a super complicated business. I think it's just complicated enough for people like myself. Like if you're in your 20s, I think it's a great first business to start. And also, it's a business that you can really scale. I know some people that have over 100 properties that they manage, and they have like a team of like 15 employees. So that's kind of why I wanted to get into it. It's scalable. It's something that I enjoy doing, providing hospitality. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, it's really great. um, yeah, would you have, okay, kind of shifting gears a little bit, like a lot
Yeah.
of people would probably think that Airbnbs, like even though they're competing with hotels, probably take up some housing and stuff like that. What advice would you have for people wanting to, like, say they're, in their teens or early 20s and they want to own a home one day? Like, since you spend a lot of time with stuff like that, what do you think?
For sure. Personally, I don't own any homes yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully, very soon. But if I were to give advice to somebody, I think um, just getting a job in the real estate industry or finding something that you're interested about real estate. Because once you get into the whole world of real estate, I personally find it very interesting. But I think you really have to learn about real estate in general if you want to buy a place. And also save your money. I know in Vancouver it's pretty tough out here right now. The economy is crazy, but yeah, definitely save money and educate yourself.
Yeah. Some of the things I usually talk about, like, are like, oh, just, either stay at home as long as you possibly can, like even after
Yeah,
college, do that as long as you possibly can. If you decide to then um, move out or whatever, roommates if you can, because housing and transportation are your biggest expense, right? Drive a crappy car or take transit as long as possible, um, and then eventually just keep working as much as possible. Like I know you work a lot, I work a lot. Um, there's no shortcut really, right? There's a lot of like programs out there like the first time home buyers plan, like the savings account where you can put in money, you get a tax refund, stuff to help you, first time home buyer loans and stuff like that, but you still have to do the work. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah. I think learning how to save your money wisely is actually a skill that you gotta learn. Like you gotta track your spending, make sure you're not. A lot of people, like even myself, I think like the last 2 years, I've not saved that much. I wouldn't say I've been smart with my money, but recently, like I've been starting to track all my expenses and just saving more now because um, it's time to buy a property
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. And I think even when you do decide to buy something, if you can, get a roommate in there too. Like, start, and no one's saying you gotta buy $1 million property or a starter home. You start at the smallest. Like, we look at real estate, the two of us, and we always go sort by price, go to like the lowest,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
something like that, or foreclosures or whatever. Um, but yeah, that's what I would say for people. Would you say it's better to, start your business and stuff like that as opposed to getting a job? Or,
I think it depends on what kind of person you are. I think you have to be really brave to start a business, like, and do that full time. But also, it depends on where you are financially, like what's your living situation? Are you still living with your parents? Do you need to pay rent? If not, that frees up a lot of time for you to learn and try to start your own business. But if you're like paying rent and you have to maintain your job, it may be a bit difficult. But yeah, it depends on your situation. But it's definitely possible for anybody as long as you make time for it.
yeah. Because I think even, like, when I was working, like, around 40 hours a week in the summer, because I wasn't really as busy with tutoring and stuff, like, you
Hmm.
have time, I feel like. You got evenings, you got weekends. Like, if you want something, get rid of like your TV time or your video games time, or your like scrolling social media time and replace it with trying to do something for yourself is what I typically recommend. Because there's like 160 something hours in the week. So if you work 40, you sleep 8 hours a day, so you get like 56 hours of sleep, you still have a chunk of time. Would you agree? Like a good 20, 30 hours.
Yeah, I think personally, like you said, it for me. It's not about what I should be doing, but what should I stop doing?
Yeah.
Like stop using social media. You'd be surprised that like if you turn on your screen time, like I used to probably spend like maybe like 3, 4 hours a day just like Instagram, YouTube, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's more about stopping the bad habits. And if you stop those bad habits, you automatically have enough time to actually go learn.
Mm-hmm. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, because I know you got rid of those apps on your phone and just have them on an iPad, right?
Yeah. So recently I basically the only social media app I have on my phone would be YouTube. But besides that, I don't have anything else. I have like an ebook app instead. So if I'm ever bored, I'll read instead and educate myself rather than scroll through social media. But I haven't completely eliminated social media out of my life. I have it on my iPad. So, but that has already significantly decreased the amount of time that I spend on just like scrolling mindlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any book recommendations or things you like on YouTube that the viewers would find value in? personally for me, I'm a big Meet Kevin fan because he follows the markets and real estate and stuff like that. And well, I'll watch a little bit of Graham Stephan occasionally or stuff like that. And yeah, what about
Hmm.
you?
I would say I usually just watch YouTube. One of them would be Ryan Pineda, which is where I saw the couch flipping video for the first time. He's very knowledgeable. He's also into real estate. I think you should check him out. Second one, I would say, what's his name? I forgot his name. I know his face though. We'll put we'll put it in the
Sure.
description when I think of it later. But he also talks about business and productivity hacks. And third one I would say is this guy named Brandon Carter.
Mm,
He doesn't talk about real estate, but he does talk about productivity, your mindset, um, how to achieve goals, and fitness as well. Because I think it all really ties into each other. Like if you're a business person, I think fitness is also a big part of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. What about any book recommendations? Personally, I really like the Rich Dad series, Cash Flow Quadrant, Guide to Investing, book on real estate, like all those ones. And I'm excited for Ali Abdal's book, and I'm a big fan of his podcast and everything. And I think any book on like taxes or building wealth would probably interest me, and that's what I
Mhm.
usually read. What about yourself?
I actually, like I said, I recently started reading more books,
Yeah,
but the most impactful books that I've read personally have been Rich Dad Poor Dad
yeah,
and Think and Grow Rich.
yeah.
Those are the two books that kind of first really changed my mindset about, I guess you could say, life or business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I read those two books, I think, during high school.
Yeah,
So that was kind of like the very beginning of everything. And sometimes I still reread it because um, I think every time you read it, you either might miss something or you might understand something a different way.
yeah. No, for sure. I reread Rich Dad Poor Dad just a week or two ago, and like, it's just such a good book. Like the lessons, you don't take them all literally, but there's just
Mm.
some things that change the way you look at the world, and all of that. And there's some good value in that book, for sure. Especially the ones that are following that book. Um,
Yeah.
one written by CPA and all of that. I think those books are probably like more valuable than a 4 year bachelor's degree, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I think there's so much value in these kinds of books. It's like we were talking about it like yesterday,
Yeah.
where like somebody has spent their whole life learning and they've put all their knowledge into a book that you can read in like 2, 3 hours, and you've
Yeah,
gained all their knowledge and experience throughout all their whole life.
for sure. Yeah. And you mentioned a little bit about this, like, so with being like self-employed and an entrepreneur and stuff, how do you like maintain wellness and like manage stress, and what does the day to day look like?
Well, for me, it's always changing, but in general, I would say first thing is to work out all the time. I think
Yeah.
working out keeps not just your body, but also your mind in check. You won't be lazy. You'll actually want to finish your tasks, your daily tasks. Second thing would be to I'm naturally a lazy person, but if I catch myself being lazy, I'll switch up the environment that I'm in because your environment really impacts how you feel. If I'm feeling lazy some days, I'll go outside, go to a coffee shop, go to the library, do some work. And how I manage stress, I would say that you have to understand where stress comes from. And that's the things that you're either not doing or the things that you can't control. So if you're ever feeling stressed, what I do is write down like a checklist, like why am I stressed? Like, is it this, A, B, C? And do everything that is in my control, and everything that is not in my control, there's nothing you can't do anything about it because it's out of your control. So you shouldn't be stressed about it. I
Dude,
always try to remind myself that.
that's amazing. Yeah, I do something similar where it's like I'll kind of write down everything that I'm thinking about or that's on my mind on like Apple Notes or whatever. And then right below it, I'll clear my head and then think about action steps. So like what can be done to kind of,
Yeah.
you know, mitigate or improve the situation or what's in my control. But yeah, that's a good idea, a good way of thinking about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then obviously like going to the gym and all of that, and yeah, no, it's great. I think the viewers will get some value. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Hopefully. This has
Anything
been.
else?
I would say, man, coming for me, just work hard and don't be lazy.
Work hard and don't be lazy. Perfect.
Yes.
Well, thank
Super
you.
cliche, but if you can do that, I think you'll be more successful than most people out there if you just work hard and don't be lazy. Like literally work hard and don't be lazy.
Work hard and don't be lazy. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming on to the show. Really appreciate it, and I hope everybody who listened to the end got a lot of value from this podcast because it's again like we're taking like 4 years of life experience after high school and university, and a lot of like businesses and stuff like that that Nelson's done, and condensing it into like 40 minutes. So yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much.